I've watched a lot of anime if you couldn't tell by now. No matter how old I am, I will always love the storytelling through this medium. I can vividly remember watching Naruto on my grandma's box TV. Opening 6 would play and I would just rock out to it every single time. I remember renting a copy of the Bleach DVD from the local library. I had to promptly explain to my mom that it was just extra content and not just some raunchy DVD. And I remember binging One Piece my senior year of high school during classes. And of course, I cannot forget my first exposure to anime, Dragon Ball Z. These shows ended up being some of my favorite of all time. And I've been watching anime for more than half of my life at this point, but I would say within the past couple of years, I've noticed a shift. Anime doesn't feel the same anymore. And I don't mean like, oh, there's nothing to watch, or old anime is better than the new gen. I mean a general shift in how anime is perceived. So today, I kind of wanted to have a bit of a discussion about how anime in the anime community has changed, at least from my perspective. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We talk about a ton of stuff on here, so be sure to stick around and check out some more. And if you're looking for more of me, check out the second channel where we do a bunch of fun stuff over there too. Okay, I won't hold you up anymore. Looking back, I used to do a bunch of general discussion videos. I just thought it'd be pretty interesting to kind of go back and talk about a broader topic. Recently, I've been feeling a bit more conscious about what I've been watching and how much different the vibe is compared to stuff in the 2010s, and then comparing that stuff to the stuff in the 2000s. So let's start with the presentation first. Anime in the 2000s like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Dragon Ball, all have this kind of crudeness with them. Not to say that these shows had bad presentation, but I bet you can go back and see a ton of imperfections that came along with these shows as they got older. Like one off the top of my head is the Naruto vs Kiba fight in the Chunin exams. This was definitely a fight of all time, but literally 3 episodes later we got the Rock Lee fight. And you'd think this is a completely different show. But I kinda missed that, you know? Building up visually from one of the best points in the series. Like eventually you build up a tolerance and kinda ignore how bad the animation is. Another one is when Guy was fighting himself in Shippuden. Of course, that looked like ass, but we see Sakura fuck shit up in the same arc. These episodes make you appreciate these big fights a lot more. Now let's take something like Chainsaw Man, a show that was consistently well animated the whole way through. Now in my Chainsaw Man video, I said that the series was animated too well, and people didn't take that very well. I wasn't trying to fault this show for looking too good, maybe. But I remember saying that this series felt more like a spectacle rather than an actual anime series. More often than not, people were gushing over how good the show looked, rather than talking about the inconsistencies the show had or the poor pacing. I feel like older anime, with it being so inconsistent, you truly had to enjoy the show enough to watch it. Like Naruto, filler and all, people really enjoy the plot. You can talk about the inconsistencies as well, but then you can still enjoy the animation. At least when it's good. It feels like an actual completed series compared to Chainsaw Man. Maybe because it is. And also Chainsaw Man only has 1 season right now, so things can change. Who knows? So I'll be fair and critique a show that I actually enjoy. Jujutsu Kaisen. This is another series that I believe had the same problem of being over animated. This wasn't always the case. I think that season 1 was more akin to a regular shonen series, and season 2 felt more like Chainsaw Man. So what's the problem here? My problem is that these highs were so high, I forgot the show wasn't mid. It's just always shit happening. But what could remedy this? What would be the most ideal way to keep a show going? I wonder. I think having filler episodes in general is just a lost art. Most shows will opt in for a seasonal format, releasing seasons whenever they're ready. But before, shows would just start making shit up for the sake of letting the manga get to a good place. Fullmoon Alchemist is just its own show after a certain point, which is crazy to think about. The original FMA is so cool to me, and I enjoyed the series a lot, but Brotherhood felt like it was a much more tighter narrative, with an actual conclusion. That's a case where filler isn't bad. And of course you get your unbearable Bleach filler every now and then, but then you can get some enjoyment out of it. Would I cry knowing that filler arcs are slowly becoming more and more rare? No, but it is weird knowing that we won't get another anime that's anywhere past 250 episodes in the future. besides Boruto. How did I not mention Boruto already? The next thing I wanted to talk about was the actual marketing of these anime nowadays. I see anime almost everywhere I go now. On one hand, it's really cool to see this stuff becoming widely accepted. But on the other hand, it feels like these companies are just pandering to the weebs. And because of that, this shit's just everywhere. Like, if I see an anime themed meal at any of the restaurants I frequent, let's just say someone is not going to have a good time.
Motherfucking ass, bitch. Don't be fucking with me, bitch.
I can't blame these companies for wanting more exposure, but now I feel like the quality of these things aren't very good. I've talked about anime merch in a different video, and my opinions are pretty much the same as last time, but to recap, most anime merch is dog shit, and it hadn't always been that way. But if you enjoy it, that's okay. But I feel like these anime consumers should be way more conscious of what they're buying. Most people I see online will buy something just because their favorite character is on it. Like, why are you buying the Todoroki themed joking machine? And this trickles down into another issue. The anime games. Anime games are slowly turning into the most blatant cash grabs. Storm Connections is the first game that comes to mind. As someone who loves Storm 4, this was a spit in the face to all the people who supported the Storm series. Realistically, there was no room for this game, no need. I'm just gonna go on a little rant about this game, but do keep in mind, this is all from the outside looking in. So Storm Connections was presented as a compilation of a ton of Naruto moments with updated mechanics, new characters, and a fat ass price tag. This game was being sold at full price despite having repeating content. You're essentially paying for the exact same game. Because at one point in time, there was a bundle for Storm 1, 2, and 3 for like $50 that went on sale fairly often. Even so, I bought Storm 1 and Storm 3 for less than $30. Each of these games have a reason to be played, but unlike Connections, this game doesn't have any staying power compared to the other entries in the series. My voice fucking cracked, dude. That was embarrassing. And it's not even like a Dragon Ball Xenoverse situation where the stories overlap, but you get new missions. There is reason to play Xenoverse over Xenoverse 2, but people still bought Storm Connections because of their allegiance to Naruto. And it's just not Storm Connections. Other games like Jujutsu Kaisen have similar issues. You'd think that this game would be a slam dunk, especially with the popularity of the series. It's an arena fighter, and visually, I'll admit, this game looked pretty cool. But once people got their hands on it, all 3 fans that played it were fucking pissed. I'm not gonna dunk on the game too much because I've never played it and it feels like such wasted time. Most of these games nowadays feel like wasted development time because these games aren't supported much after like a year. So why not just make one big game that covers a substantial part of the series? They instead make 2 smaller games with less content. One's Justice and Hinokami Chronicles are the best examples of this. One's Justice is so underbaked, it's insane. The game ends with the fight at Camino Ward, and almost a year later, the second game comes out with new customization and a couple new mechanics. Did adding a dodge feature in Mirio really justify making a whole new game priced at $60 when the other game just came out? I love the One's Justice games. They're super fun to play and they feel so solid. But realistically, I'd be a lot happier if the game was just one giant game from season 1 to 6. Did I mention that One's Justice 2 only covers about season 3.5 up until season 4, which is significantly less than the previous game? I'm sorry, but that is ridiculous. It just comes off as, oh, we don't care about the game as long as it comes out by quarter 3. It's so exhausting to think about because as long as people keep buying these malnourished games, these companies are just gonna keep getting away with subpar work. The last anime game I remember loving was Dragon Ball Kakarot. I feel like that was the last game the community as a whole just agreed. This was a great game. But what about the community? That's one thing I haven't talked about yet. Now with social media being so much more accessible, people are able to express their opinions, but I feel like this has its negative effects. Let's just get this out the way now. This is a My Hero rant. I see all the slander that My Hero gets and I've been seeing it for years. People don't like the show and that's okay. That is okay. But let's not talk down on the series all crazy. Let's not do that. I feel like people will downplay different series just to boost up their own, and it's like, why can't we just appreciate both shows? I'm guilty of doing this. In my Chainsaw Man video, did it to Attack on Titan, Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece. These are all series that I've talked about in a negative way, but at the end of the day, I still like these shows. I think that people also have this blueprint of what an anime should be, but it doesn't actually fit what the creator envisioned. Plus, their opinions are usually dog shit. Respectfully. I've heard the blue sky nonsense for about 2 years now, the Disney Academia allegations, the nobody dies arguments, but most of these come down to, are you actually watching the show? I'm not gonna debunk all those arguments, but it's like people don't even care to analyze and process what they're actually watching. There's been people who have died in My Hero Academia, but people don't just need to die if it doesn't further the narrative. Because when it does happen, cough cough Neji, everyone is still gonna complain. I don't know, I think we should just look at series in a vacuum, and we shouldn't discredit them for going against any assumptions we have. Of course, there will always be similarities, but a show shouldn't just be boiled down to a clone. Like, I'll talk bad about Demon Slayer all the time. I have a video on my channel saying I don't like Demon Slayer, but I give the show a watch. You know, I feel like that's the very least you can do before you just start calling the show dog shit all crazy, you know? Like, I understand having your opinions, but when your opinions are nonsensical, that's where the issue lies with me. And I think it's so, you come off as dumb, stupid, uneducated when you just, the sky is blue, it doesn't fit the panels aren't exactly the same. And it's like, are you serious? Like, of course you can draw one panel and make it look very nice, but then you're drawing 24 of the same panels when the episode has to be out by a certain time. Of course the details aren't gonna look exactly the same. Let's be for real. Like, people say, oh, My Hero Academia has no aura. Bones stole all the aura from My Hero Academia. And it's like, no, the show is a show, and the manga, of course, can be more detailed because it's a whole different medium. You know, so it's like people don't think before they start posting online, whether it be for rage bait, whether it's because they're actually stupid. I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, people should just be able to express themselves and enjoy anime how they want, but it's just weird to see. Anime is way different than it was a couple of years ago, and that's not a bad thing. It's super interesting to watch how things change from one era to another. I'm hoping that the current issues get fixed eventually, but I'm still going to be able to go back and watch my favorite series if I want. You should be able to grow and change as a community, but remember to be nice. I don't know, I was just kind of talking at this point. I don't really have a way to end this video. Thanks for watching, see you later.